Get ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com.
So keep supporting these guys. I mean, you know, it means the world to us. And we, you know, in the end, when we're cutting down the nets, we'll remember that there was a group of fans that got us through all this. In the end, when we're cutting down the nets.
As we near 2 minutes to play. Lines up to 3. Tyson back and hard.
On the reverse. Oh, look at that.
Ashworth guarding Shaver. Shaver pulls it back, leaves his feet. Shaver for 3. Stunner at the spectrum. 11 straight wins for the Broncos.
Shaver with the ball now. Spins from the double. Rises and hits a three. What a shot.
In the end, when we're cutting down the nets, we'll remember that there was a group of fans that got us through all this.
Howdy folks, Captain here. Being happy going on initial descent into Las Vegas. Currently 63 degrees, clear skies. For those college basketball fans joining us on this afternoon's flight from Boise, wish you good luck in the Mountain West Tournament. Welcome to Las Vegas.
Well, if that doesn't get you ready for the Mountain West Tournament, don't know what does. Thanks to Colin Mitchell for putting that together there, our new intro for the next couple of days. BJ Rains with you. I'm having trouble with the mic here from Bronco Nation News Live. We're just going to take it out of there. Why not? Got Jay Tust from KTVB with us as well. It's our weekly Tuesdays with Tust segment. And Jay, we're heading down to Las Vegas. Going to be fun. The team's arriving this evening. We'll have both our outlets will have full coverage the next 4 or 5 days and going into next week as well. But it's a fun time of year, man, and looking forward to it.
Hey, one of the best. I think the thing that I like about this year specifically is just how awesome we can all anticipate this Mountain West tournament to be. It's funny. I think these are the things that kind of date how long we've been covering this team, BJ. But back in the days in 2012, 13, 14, when New Mexico was loaded, San Diego State was always good, Nevada was good, and you would go down to Las Vegas and you just felt the energy around the Mountain West tournament. And I'm not going to lie, some years since it seems like at times it barely has a pulse because you kind of know what's going to happen. There's only 1 or 2 teams really in contention. Anything else would be a massive upset. It feels like you're going to Vegas and you're playing blackjack and you're hitting on 14 because the dealer has a face card and you're hoping for the best, knowing it's probably not going to go your way. Well,
it's going to be fun. Again, quick reminder for those going to Las Vegas, join us tomorrow night. Bronco Nation News will be 7 to 10 p.m. tomorrow night over at Circa Casino, the overhang bar on the 3rd floor there. We got free swag to give away. We got some rally towels. We're going to do a T-shirt drawing, all kinds of fun stuff. Even got a new drink they've made up for us, Jay, called the Bucking Buster, which will be a fun drink for Boise State fans if they want to come on in. So we got some drink specials. Going to be a lot of fun. So if you're heading to Vegas again tomorrow night, may even get a Jay Tust appearance for a live shot. We'll see if we can put the pressure on them. 7 to 10 p.m. I've heard from a lot of you guys are going to be there, so that should be a lot of fun. And Jay, here's a look at the bracket. We've talked a lot about it, to this point. Boise State gets that quarterfinal matchup on Thursday, 1 p.m. Boise time, noon in Vegas. But for winning the Mountain West outright, one of the hardest leagues they've had in a long, years in a long time. They win it outright. Their reward is, potentially one of the most talented number 8 seeds in tournament history here. What do you make of the bracket here?
I think that it broke down ideally for Boise State. I mean, I know that they have to open up with potentially Nevada or New Mexico. New Mexico wouldn't scare me as much as Nevada. But I think the best thing about the bracket for Boise State is that Colorado State and San Diego State are both on the bottom half of it, meaning you don't have to beat both. You only have to beat one. And I know they went 2-0 against the Aztecs and only 1-1 against Wyoming this year, but there's just something about when San Diego State shows up at the Thomas and Mack that they act like they belong there. And more often than not, they they play extremely well at the Mountain West Conference tournaments. The fact that the Rams and the Aztecs are on the bottom half of that bracket, given how good the league is this year, I think that's probably the best that Boise State could have hoped for.
Well, you talk about the Aztecs playing traditionally well, and I guess we'll just get right to it, Jay. I mean, on the other end, Boise State's already, exercised a lot of demons this year, and some of the places they've won, some of the things they've done. The kind of one monkey on their back, I guess, so to speak, or whatever left is success in the Mountain West tournament. And you hate to, be a Debbie Downer at this point. They're having a great season, but stats are stats, and they're 3-7 in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament. They're 5-10 all time in the tournament. They are 1-4 when they're the better seed in the quarterfinals of the tournament, and the rest of the league, by the way, 30-5 during that stretch. So you've got the rest of the other top seeds going 30-5. Boise State is 1-4 when they've been the higher ranked seeds. So history is not on their side in this tournament, but they've proven this year to be quote unquote different, and I think a lot of people expect that to be the case the next few days.
Yeah, I think the best thing for Boise State is that they go down to Las Vegas with zero pressure for the first time in the Leon Rice era. Even if they lose on Thursday, it's not going to be enough to knock them into the first four, let alone out of the tournament or anything like that. So I really feel like they're playing with house money at this point. And maybe that will do enough to, it'll take the pressure off them to where they kind of can play free and easy. But for the first time in Leon Rice's era, I think you'd agree, BJ, they have zero pressure going to the Mountain West tournament because they've already technically, they haven't locked it up, but if you look at everywhere, that every bracketologist, all the metrics, everything would suggest that these guys feel very, very safe going into the conference tournament. And weeks ago, we said, do that. Take care of your NCAA tournament bid before you go to Las Vegas. And I think the Broncos successfully were able to do that.
And I want to hear a clip from Leon Rice. You and I were both down there with Will Hall. A lot of the other media were down there talking to Leon yesterday, and it's about that. And we asked him about the lack of success in the tournament, but also kind of, are you playing with house money at this point, or not really that same pressure? And he's going to reference a game against San Diego State from a couple years ago, and it was one of those weird things where I was up at 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, Jay, and was trying to get some stuff done before heading out of town today. And when I was listening to that quote, I went to YouTube, typed in Boise State, San Diego State 2020, and I spent about an hour, when I didn't have an hour, watching most of that game, or at least the first half, when Boise State got up by like 15 points. And the thing I noticed about that was you look over on the bench, at the end of the bench, and the 2 or 3 guys going absolute the craziest were Mladen Armouche and Emmanuel Akot, who were redshirting and unable to play in that game. And I just who is that guy on the end of the bench going crazy on the basket? And I looked, and sure enough, they were the guys clapping on defense and going crazy. And now those guys get their chance. And, again, in the tournament, last year was no fans and just kind of a weird year. Kejab didn't get his chance last year, obviously getting hurt in the last regular season game. He did play in that game after coming eligible earlier in the season. But it's a new team, I guess, is my point. It's not a lot of the same guys that have had the traditional struggles in March. But we did ask Leon Rice, and let's hear from Leon first, and then we'll discuss what he said.
If you look at where we finished and, historically, does the 4th place team, does the 3rd place team, how far are they going? I bet it's not statistically significant. Like, oh, my God, they've underachieved as far, It's just, there's one team that wins it every year. One. Yeah. That's it. And so, we haven't made it to the Mountain West Championship game, but, we've made it to the semifinals, and we've had some good wins down there. And, you've had some tough matchups and tough games. And, I think 2 years ago we played one of the best teams in the country and had one of our best showings. And we're up by 18 at half, or close in the first half, and they cut it. But we've competed down there, and sometimes it just hasn't gone our way. And but I don't, I think that's a fan narrative that they just love to, because guess what? Has Colorado State won the tournament? No. You don't hear that about them because they've gone through different coaches. So you don't. Larry Stacy's team lost one that cost them an NCAA tournament, and so it's happened to everybody's my point, and it's a super competitive league, and you get teams that travel really well, you get teams that their fans show up in multitudes. I mean, San Diego State, and that it was like playing in San Diego when we played them. And, you know, we haven't had a huge following down there, but the ones that have come have really helped us. But I think that plays into some things.
Do you think
when you get like a home court advantage almost, for New Mexico's been like that when they were rolling, and so I think those things do make a difference. The fan base, you know, that shows up.
You guys are in a different spot for the next week.
No.
Does that you guys play any looser? Is there any difference going into this tournament, not having to worry about next week?
I mean, maybe all that stuff does weigh in on guys, but I think this team might be different. I mean, like I said, they showed it last week. Like nobody would have showed up to play like we did Saturday. So I think in that aspect, this team is different.
Well, there you go. Jay says this team is different. But again, he challenged me to look at the stats, and I went and did. And unfortunately for Coach Rice, what he's saying there doesn't really add up to what he's saying. I mean, they're 1-4 is the higher seed, 30-1-5 or 30-5, I believe it is, for the rest of the league as the top 4 seeds. So for whatever reason, Jay, and maybe it is that they're on the bubble, they got to win a game or two to get in. Maybe it's relying on one guy. I don't know, but the tournament just has not been kind to them. And this is the year for new players, new team to finally put that thing to bed. You're muted, Jay. You're muted.
I didn't want to talk over Leon's audio. Sorry about that. What other approach does Leon take? I mean, do you admit that it hasn't gone well? No. You know, I mean, that, and in his defense too, that whatever happened in the past has nothing to do with whatever, you know, he's putting on the court this year. A lot of these players, as you just said, I mean, a lot of these big time contributors, whether it be Mladen Armush or Tyson Degenhardt or Manuel Acott, Kejab last year. I mean, they've had very little experience down there with Boise State at the Mountain West Conference tournament. So, but I will say this. I mean, it is their responsibility to exercise the demons. I mean, because it will be something that follows Boise State. But the one good thing about this year is it doesn't matter, though. I mean, if Leon Rice is standing on a ladder cutting down the net, you know, on Saturday afternoon, he's going to tell you how much it mattered. But outside of that, like, they're going to the NCAA tournament, and it doesn't matter a whole lot. Sure, they might be able to improve their seeding a little bit, but let's face it, we don't really know what the committee's going to, you know, do. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I just feel like they have significantly less pressure to perform this year because of what they've already accomplished, and maybe it'll be the difference. Every time we talk about, is this team different, BJ, so far this year, they've proven that they have been different. So I'll probably give them the benefit of the doubt until they finally don't back it up.
Now, this is fighting words against somebody like Jay, but Perry says, heard a coach say once, stats are for losers. Jay, what's your response to Perry?
Show me the stats in that game after the coach claimed that. Because if a team's putting up 100, you very rarely hear a coach say that stats are for losers after something like that. Just saying.
Nick Wade saying the Broncos are special. They're going to win the tournament. Josh DeWitt saying, do you think the loss at CSU refocuses the team for the tournament? Rice did not look happy post-game. No, he didn't like a couple of my questions post-game. That's fine. It told you how much he wanted to win that game, how much he cared about that game. I mean, they had won 5 in a row, but I don't know if they weren't focused to begin with. I think they had plenty of focus already, but sure. I mean, you just kind of put that one behind you. You lost it. And Abu Kejab was telling us yesterday, Jay, he'd love nothing more than to get another shot at CSU in the finals.
Yeah. And I think that, gosh, as basketball fans, we would love to see that. I mean, that's great competition. We said even another round with Wyoming would be awesome. And now, like, Boise State's going to be, I don't want to say they're all guaranteed that. They got to get through a game, and so does Wyoming. But I mean, that would be awesome to see those two teams collide once again. As far as your questions, I mean, like, I also don't fault Leon Rice for taking exception with them. I mean, like, you just can't blame them for that, right, BJ?
No, it comes with the territory.
I mean, it's almost like your first team ballot you filled out for the media yesterday. Like, I'm glad that I got this opportunity to talk with you today, because for all the Wyoming fans out there, I can't believe you left Graham Ike off your first team ballot.
I didn't actually. I had Graham Ike on.
Okay, you did that. Well, then I'll side with the San Diego State fans. I mean, how can you leave Matt Bradley off of your first team ballot? I mean, like Justin.
Make a free throw.
I can't believe you could leave Justin Bean off your ballot. I'm here for all the Aggie fans out there to call you out for leaving Justin Bean off your first team ballot. Or what about the New Mexico fans? Like, how could you completely just slap them in the face by leaving Jamal Mashburn Jr. off your first team ballot?
Amari Moore from San Jose State.
Or Amari Moore from San Jose State. Like, I'm here for the Spartan fans to call you out for leaving him off your first team ballot. I mean, figure it out, man.
Mountain West Twitter has been something else the last couple of days.
Kind of has been. Really kind of has been.
I guess it's good that all these teams think they're good enough and have the right to want to defend their teams and players and all that, but there really was 7 players good enough for 5 spots.
There were.
So, however you did it, you were going to piss somebody off, and we felt like the best player on the best team deserved on there, so we put Abu Kijab on the first team, and that obviously probably pushed off Matt Bradley. We had Hunter Maldonado second team because we had with EK, we couldn't give 2, at least in the Boise ballot. It was me, Rachel Roberts, and Jordan Kay together on one ballot. We could not put 2 Wyoming players on the first team when they finished in 4th place. And so we chose EK over Maldonado. You could have flipped the coin and gone either way. You could have maybe had Robinson maybe could have been the guy if you wanted over Bradley. I know he's the NBA draft pick, best option of the group, but maybe their team finished 6th. I mean, maybe you could have done something there. But in the end, I think it was, 5 spots for 7 guys. I'm
just surprised, BJ, you've been around long enough that you really just could have copy and pasted Jordan Kay's email and blamed it on the new guy. I mean, like, for all those responses, that's probably the route that I would have gone.
I didn't
had nothing to do with it. It was the new guy, so you might want to contact Jordan.
Shout out for Brian Roth here. He was Colorado State fans had some fun too. We should have titled this episode what were we called? Fanboy something fanboys. Maybe that should have been the name.
I never even like that tweet, like pointing out that there's probably a foul. I never said that it would have won Boise State a game.
Didn't you compliment CSU in the tweet too and said David Roddy?
Yeah. I mean, I think that Colorado State is a great team, but that I don't know why you can't ask a simple question. I don't know, man. That really offended the Colorado State fan base, even questioning them. So
I'm mad at myself that we didn't title this episode the Boise Media Fanboys. But
sounds like one hell of a boy band, though.
Rudy says Calvin Ridley says bet on the Broncos too soon. Brian Billingsley J saying Wyoming is last 4 in on Lenardi's bracket. If they lose to UNLV and the Rebels go on to win the tournament, I think Wyoming's. Well, I don't know if UNLV needs to go on to win the tournament, but for Wyoming, if you're last 4 in, you can't afford a loss. Probably they're in some trouble all of a sudden.
Yeah, if you're in the last 4 in this time of year and you're a mid-major, like you're probably out of the tournament because there's going to be bid stealers. Like, it's going to happen, and you definitely don't feel great about your chances of making the tournament if you lose to UNLV. I mean, if you're sitting in Laramie on Selection Sunday, I almost probably feel like you need even a win in the semifinals to feel pretty good about your chances. They've slipped a little bit, and they still have had a very, very impressive season. They far exceeded any expectations of them. But right now, with Boise State, we talk about that early season loss to Cal State Bakersfield and how it's just kind of clung with them. I tell you, if they end up on the wrong side of the bubble, they're really going to be kicking themselves for what happened at the Pit against New Mexico. Yes, I know the Pit is a tough place to play, but this New Mexico team isn't what they've been in years past. And that could ultimately be the loss that leaves Wyoming on the wrong side of the bubble.
Well, we'll talk New Mexico in a second as we look at the 8-9 matchup. But Rudy says, watch how the refs call the game early on, especially with the contact. A charge is much easier to call than a block. That's always in tournament time. How they officiate the game is always big. If you get 2 fouls on the star player, that can change things quickly. Jordan saying this team isn't losing, and how cool would it be if they got their first Mountain West tourney win and the first ever win against a ranked Mountain West foe, Colorado State. He agrees with Leon. Often they've played dang good teams in the tournament. That's the case for most of them. Joel saying that EK gets all the calls that Roddy complains about not getting constantly. How the game is officiated probably will come down, Jay, and be a big factor in this one. Hey, if you're heading down to the tournament, you need to take that gear, head on over real quick to the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. You can head out to the mall there on your way, Boise Town Square Mall, on your way to the airport, on your way out of town. The blueandorangestore.com is where you can go and get all that new Nike gear and all that great stuff as well. So we appreciate the Blue and Orange Store for their support of the show. And Jay, 8-9 matchup, Nevada, New Mexico. I think if you're a Boise State fan, you're pulling hardcore tomorrow for New Mexico to win that game. I'll be honest, I'm very worried about this game for Boise State. Maybe I'm just being a overly whatever, but ever since the last couple of weeks, I saw this was a possible matchup. I think this is a nightmare scenario for Boise State. We've talked about the poor tournament history they've had. In a lot of games, it's usually a guy getting hot, a Sam Merrill going for 38 points, and you lose as the 2 seed. We saw last year in the tournament against New Mexico, I think, or in Nevada. I think Cambridge and Sherfield both had 20-something points in that game. So when Cambridge just scares me. I know he didn't do a lot last time they played him. I know Boise State's beaten them twice by combined 20-something points. But I just if they're I would almost rather play Fresno. I'd rather play Utah State. There's other teams I'd rather play in the first game, given what we've talked about with Boise State's tournament success than Nevada. They're a very scary opponent possibly for me.
I mean, all you got to talk about is Grant Sherfield and throw Desmond Cambridge in there, and they got a couple of 7-footers that can make life pretty difficult. It's funny, after the Utah State game at Extra Mile Arena, Boise State, they end up pulling away late in that game to kind of win by a comfortable margin. But next day you wake up and you think back and you're like, God, man, if they have to play those guys in the quarters, I don't really want to see them. And then after the Nevada game, I mean, it was the exact same thing all over again. Boise State ends up winning that game at Extra Mile by 6, but you're like, holy crap. If that's on a neutral court, they're going to have to play those guys again. And Grant Sherfield finally seems healthy. And I mean, it really is a scary matchup. And I know that probably some people out there will take it as maybe us making excuses. I'm not going to excuse a loss, but that sucks, for lack of a better term, to win the conference outright and get Grant Sherfield and Desmond Cambridge right out of the gate in the Mountain West Conference tournament as the 8th seed. And again, their record's not impressive. It isn't. But if there's anything that can maybe make a team refocus, I mean, Nevada hasn't been playing for an at-large bid for 2 months now. But now they're playing for an NCAA tournament bid. So if there's anything that can make a team refocus and potentially galvanize them, their season has been boxed into a 4-day window where if they can win 4 games in 4 days, everything that happened before is erased. And I don't know about you, BJ. I didn't have a preseason vote this year for Mountain West Player of the Year. I probably would have voted for David Roddy, but I definitely would have thought about Grant Sherfield as that number 1 overall player in the Mountain West going into the season. And it's not like he had a bad year, but
no, he missed a couple games. He was hurt, which is why he probably fell to second team. But I think he's still averaging 18 points a game.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the box score right now, Jay, from that game last year in the Mountain West tournament. The 4 versus 5 seed, Nevada won 89-82. Desmond Cambridge 31 points. Grant Sherfield 26 points. 58 points by 2 players in that game. Desmond Cambridge was 11 of 19 from the field. Sherfield was 8 of 14 from the field. Sherfield 3 for 3 from 3-point range. Cambridge made 4 threes himself. And then, Warren Washington at 18 and 11 in that game as well. So, maybe they'll win by, fairly comfortably. And we'll be saying after the game on Thursday, why were we, this team's different. Why were we worried? But for me, I actually think I feel more confident that Boise State will win the second game. UNLV or Wyoming, whoever they play, I will feel more confident going into that game than I feel for Boise State going into Thursday if they have to play Nevada. Is that
I don't know if I'm going to go that. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but maybe you feel that way too, just because that loss would be more reasonable. At least the optics of it would be more reasonable than the Nevada thing. So, it's just going to be crazy, man. I truly am excited for the energy around the Mountain West tournament this year, and can't wait to see what happens there. It's too bad that Boise State came so close to cracking the top 25 of the AP rankings, and the Mountain West almost had 2 teams in the AP top 25, which
a local voter would have just voted them higher. They might have had a shot.
Hey, apparently, who is that guy? I will, man, to break it down, though, it was a little odd how, it worked out. Boise State missed out on the AP Top 25 by 7 votes, or not 7 votes, excuse me, 7 points, right? And I know that you know how this works, BJ, but there was one voter that there was only one voter that voted for North Carolina, or no, there was multiple voters, I'm sorry, that voted for North Carolina, but there was one voter that had them as high as 15, and that was way higher than anybody else. Last week, he didn't even have them in the top 25. And so to go from unranked to 15, that's a 10-point swing right there. And so that was enough to put UNC in the top 25 over Boise State. I mean, that to go.
Who's the voter? Where's the pull attacks from Gary Parrish here? Where's the? You're lucky, by the way. When I did it, they actually had a column that Gary Parrish wrote about where if you had a bad ballot, he would rip your ass. You're lucky they don't have that anymore.
I mean, I don't go through every ballot, by the way, BJ. Like I don't have. I know you didn't. I don't have time for that. But for me personally, gosh, I don't know. I can't really imagine a scenario where this time of year I would have had an unranked team jump all the way to 15 for a win, even though Duke was 4 at the time, I believe, and now Duke's still top 10. I still just don't. I don't think I could have done that. And hey, if this is one of those blank resume teams, if UNC's name wasn't attached to that effort, I don't know if you do jump them that high. They have 2 wins in quad 1, 7 losses in quad 1. 13 of their 23 wins, I believe, are in quad 3. They're 13-0 in quad 3. So I truly think that Boise State has a better resume than UNC. Would they beat UNC? I don't know. But if you look at all the metrics, I mean, it just told me
higher net ranking, higher Ken Pom ranking, more quad 1 wins, more quad 2 wins, more neutral court wins, the same road record, and more the same number of quad 3, quad 4 losses. And you look at some of their losses too. They're losing by 25 points in some of these games. So it is what it is. Who cares? They can make some hay in the tournament, I guess. Nobody will. I mean, the ranking means nothing this time of year.
It doesn't. Anyway. I mean, I will even say that cool little number that you usually place next to like the names, that's actually even gone too, because now all the tournament rankings show up next to the names or whatever. It would have been big for Boise State, but I will say this, man, don't overlook the obvious. And what that is Boise State lost a basketball game, and they're still 1 spot outside of the top 25. I mean, that's some pretty damn good respect right there.
Perry saying the Broncos are going to be fresh against the team they played the day before. Let's hear from Leon Rice quickly on the 8-9 matchup and the potential of either New Mexico or Nevada.
2 really good teams. I mean, playing the 8-9 game. I mean, one of those teams was picked in the top 3 and picked number 1 by some people, and certainly has the talent to be that team. And that's the 8-9 game. I mean, it's remarkable. And the other team has had some unbelievable wins, and think about that. San Diego State didn't have to go to the pit, and they didn't get Wyoming at home. How about that? That's a pretty good draw. But that's the league this year. There's just so many good teams, and certainly there's 2 of them playing on the Wednesday game in the 8-9 game, and we get the winner. And those guards at New Mexico are terrific, and Coach Pitino's doing a great job. And then, on the other side, you got Nevada team. Like you said, you watch, anyone who showed up Tuesday night and watched them play is like, whoa, that's the 8 seed. I mean, that's got to be the best, most talented 8 seed we've ever had in this league. I mean, and I've been around the league 12 years. I don't remember anything close to that. So, and then, like you said, those New Mexico team there. So, who knows? I can't project, but that's what makes it challenging, because you don't have tons of time to prepare. That game gets over, and then you know who you play.
Was trying to catch Jay, picking his nose or something there, but couldn't do it. I don't know what was going on there. Sorry, Jay. I'm a amateur here at this still. So, But final, I want to real quickly touch on Hank Bachmeier before we get out of here, Jay. But final thing, this is the last time we'll probably get you before the tournament. We'll do this again Friday morning, hopefully previewing a semifinal game from Vegas. But what's just your general takeaway? I know you asked Leon about this, and it was kind of, just the fun of the tournament, seeing all the fan bases down there, all the teams. And I know it's funny. Everybody talks about how crazy this tournament's going to be, but John Mallory was telling me yesterday he thinks it's going to be the top 4 teams all getting to the semis, and it's going to be chalk. And so it is funny to look at all these talented teams we've talked about all year how good the tournament's going to be in the league and all this, and here we are. And I think Boise State's going to have a good showing down there from the fan base perspective. I know a lot of fans that have never been to Vegas before going, so I'll be curious what the crowd looks like. But we've been going down there about a decade now, and this has one of the better feelings you have about this team, because don't forget, even when 2015, when they were the number 1 seed going in, you weren't like super confident they were in the NCAA tournament still. And so, like you mentioned, to be a lock, to go down there almost playing with house money, and just kind of see what happens. It should be an exciting couple of days.
I couldn't agree more with you. I'm stoked. I can't remember the last time I've also been like excited to watch other games at the Mountain West tournament, like just hanging out all day, showing up and watching non-Boise State games if there's time. I mean, like we talk about whether it's going to be New Mexico or Nevada that Boise State's going to play. Don't overlook that matchup. You have Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. along with, going up against Desmond Cambridge and Grant Sherfield. I mean, each of those combos are averaging right around 35 points per game. Like, it's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be awesome. I love Abu Kijab's approach right now. This is
Jay froze on us there.
I'm back.
That's one way for Jay to get out of the final couple minutes of the show. If he freezes on us there, we'll see if we can maybe go ahead and kick him out and bring him back in. Let's see. Here we go. There he is. There he is.
I love Abu Kijab's approach, man. Like I feel like he's an awesome leader. He's got this great demeanor. I think that he's going to carry them through the tournament, and then we'll see how it all falls out on Saturday with a potential rematch between Boise State and Colorado State.
Hey, if you own a business, the best in business insurance is United Commercial Insurance, a local company right here. They can write policies, though, in 44 states. So if you just started your business or you've been working for decades, United Commercial Insurance offers competitive rates, great service to help manage your business insurance needs. So appreciate them and their support of Bronco Nation News. And final thing, Jay, I had some sound bites. We don't have a ton of time left, but we talked to Hank Bachmeier yesterday. He talked about his knee and having surgery there. He talked about, that the Kellen Moore guy still causing him some grief from time to time. I thought he was, very open as he usually is in about 15 minutes talking to us. And spring football is going on at the same time as basketball. This is probably the first time in a while that the football team's kind of getting the shaft in terms of the media attention. But what do you make of Bachmeier going into year 4 as the starter? And obviously, if he can stay healthy, a lot of how this team does is going to rely on Hank Bachmeier this year.
I know that it's always going to be tough to completely live out of the shadow of Kellen Moore. But, man, even hearing him say that, BJ, it just made me think of Brett Rippon. I mean, he really had to live in the shadow of Kellen Moore. He was so much more connected to the Kellen Moore era, and being a recruit out of Washington, Eastern Washington for that matter, and playing so early, I kind of felt like that comparison was a little better maybe. I don't know. I feel like Brett probably had to deal with even more pressure when it came to the Kellen Moore comparison. But I'll show you this, BJ. Hank Bachmeier's played in 25 games throughout his career. In those 25 games, he's thrown 35 TDs, 16 picks. In Brett Rippon's first 25 games, he threw 44 TDs, 17 picks. So 9 more touchdowns, 1 more interception than Hank in that same body of work. Kellen in 25 games, his first 25 games, 63 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So 3 less picks, almost double the amount of touchdowns. Surprisingly, passing yards between Kellen and Hank through 25 games are actually pretty even, about a 400-yard separator, which is just kind of crazy to think that in the same amount of games, Kellen had about 400 more passing yards and almost 30 more passing touchdowns than Hank, 28. Brett had 9 more, almost 1,000 more passing yards in that same body of work. So I don't know what necessarily that comparison offers you or what perspective you get out of that, but there has been some pretty elite play at the quarterback position at Boise State, and this is a big season for him, like straight up. We all like Hank. Hank's got an awesome personality. His teammates like him, all that stuff. But when it comes to playing quarterback at Boise State, whether you're Kellen Moore, Brett Rippon, Grant Hedrick, Hank Bachmeier, Joe Southwick, Jared Zabransky, anybody, Bart Hendricks, want to keep going? There's a different expectation of you, and it's not only stats, but it's coming up with wins. And this is a potential defining year of the Hank Bachmeier tenure at Boise State.
It's only 20 seconds, so we'll end it. I do want to play this bite. But by the way, you mentioned Brett Rippon. He got back to me that he's 99.9% in for the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. So Brett Rippon and his dad was there, a package deal. I said I reluctantly allowed Tim to come back as well. So
Tim's winning that thing.
If you're thinking about if we had one other reason to get Jay out there, now we can say that Brett Rippon will be playing in the tournament as well, and we'll maybe get you guys in the same foursome or something. We'll see.
Perfect.
But Brett Rippon is in, and we're adding to the list of celebrities as well moving forward. Real quick, here was Hank talking about that, Jay, with about the legacy of Kellen Moore.
No, I mean, obviously, Kellen is Kellen. That guy caused me a little bit of stress every once in a while. But, I mean, he's obviously an incredible person to try and chase. Brett, some of these other guys. It's an honor to be able to play quarterback here. But just for myself, I just want to come in every single day and be my best. And I'm excited for this season.
Well, there it is, Hank Bachmeier. And Jay, we could go hours. We got more basketball stuff we didn't even get to. We got more football stuff as well. But I know you guys are covering on KTVB with all of the football spring practice interviews. And we got the full video up as well. So it's a fun time of year. I know you and Will are going down to Vegas, and I actually feel guilty kind of not giving football maybe their due. It'd be pretty rare when Hank Bachmeier talks that, the starting quarterbacks that only gets the last 3 minutes of a show like this. But that's just
it's spring ball. Live in the glory of March Madness. It's going to be a fun week. Will and I drive down tomorrow morning. Can't wait to see you there, BJ.
Sounds good, man. We appreciate your time, and we will see you down there. Safe travels, man. Safe travels to all of the Boise State fans heading down to Las Vegas. We hope everybody has a safe travels. Up to 848. BJ rising faster than gas prices. That's our subscription. We're trying to get to 1,000 on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please just head over and subscribe on YouTube. It takes about 2 seconds. It's easy. It's free. It's fast. Just smash that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. You can like the video as well. We're hoping to get to 1,000. We posted all the videos. If you want to see Hank Bachmeier, if you want to see Tyreek Jones from yesterday, the full Leon Rice interview, all those are available on our YouTube page to go and check out. And as I mentioned, the YouTube channel is just Bronco Nation. It's youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. So you can just go to youtube.com/Bronco Nation News if you're not watching this on YouTube, and subscribe. It's pretty easy. We're going to have live broadcast starting tomorrow morning from Circa. We'll be live. We're going to do an hour later, by the way, for the next couple of days because we're a lot going on. It'll be late evenings and stuff like that in Las Vegas. So we'll be 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. The next 4 days, we'll have live broadcasts from the Circa Sportsbook starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. So our live shows moving forward will be same shows. Looking forward to doing them, but they will be 10 a.m. this week, Mountain Time. And we'll be out at Stadium Swim one of the days. We'll be at the Sportsbook going live. Circa's been very accommodating, and they're helping us set up a whole studio and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Wall-to-wall coverage, multiple live shows a day, multiple reports, you name it. Colin Mitchell and myself will be in Vegas this evening. Full coverage once the team arrives. The team arrives this afternoon about 6 o'clock. We'll be at the hotel with video of the arrival. We'll have interviews, all kinds of stuff. So looking forward to that. And then we'll have, again, live shows, 10 a.m. Every day moving forward, plus pregame shows, postgame shows, all kinds of good stuff. And again, if you're heading to Las Vegas to join us, please come join us tomorrow night at the Circa Resort and Casino. It's on Fremont Street, so if you are staying downtown or on the Strip, you'll have to take an Uber to come check us out. But 7 to 10 p.m., we'll just be hanging out. The Blue Collar Club will be there taking donations for the BAA. We've got rally towels to give away. We got some ICCU sunglasses. We got some other stuff that Boise State's giving out that I'll be picking up today. I think some of the old school Bronco stickers. Then we got a couple of shirts we're going to raffle off as well. So come on down. March 9th, that's tomorrow, 7 to 10 p.m. It's the Overhang Bar. It's on the top level of the sports book. I think it's the third floor, and we'll be there again from around 7 to 10. So just stop by, have a drink, hang out, and I would love to meet you guys. And we'll all be offering discount codes as well, 50% off, only $35 for a year subscription if you stop by and tell us you're interested. I got some cards to pass out with the promo code and things like that. So really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, 7 to 10 p.m. tomorrow night, we'll kick off the coverage tonight when the team arrives. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be live again, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. in Las Vegas with full coverage. So appreciate everybody for checking this out. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And it's going to be fun. Hope to see all of you down in Las Vegas. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully for Boise State's sake, they can get a couple wins and get to that championship game on Saturday. Man, would that be fun to get a lot of Boise State fans in there on Saturday in the title game and see this team get into the NCAA tournament on a high note on Selection Sunday. So appreciate everybody for checking it out. We'll take care. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.